The same Kirk Cousins that got benched last year, you absolutely did. Same Kirk Cousins that got benched last year as starter for the Atlanta Falcons was 7-7, got benched for a rookie in Michael Penix, who many were shocked they even drafted in the first place. Chase, you know a lot about Kirk Cousins. You know being a backup, you know being a starter, you know a lot that there goes into with the NFL. Is Kirk Cousins a good backup plan for the Steelers?
He's their only backup plan. There's no other guy you can go out there to take the Steelers, which we said yesterday was a playoff roster offensively and defensively. There's no way in the world, respectfully to Mason Rudolph, that you're going to trust him to lead you to the playoffs. And so we came on this desk yesterday, and we were given deadlines. And I said, hey, 2 weeks before training camp, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign, you have to work out a trade with Atlanta for Kirk Cousins. That's the thing that I'm most interested in, because I still think Kirk Cousins can play football. And everyone's like, well, the money, Pittsburgh doesn't want to pay him this. Atlanta's going to eat a portion of that salary. And if you look at 2024, he wasn't fully healthy. He didn't play well 7-7. But if you go back to 2023, the first 8 games of the year, he was tied for second in passing yards a game, and he was first in touchdown passes through 8 games. So he was leading the league in touchdown passes and almost yards per game. So it's not that far-fetched that he can't get back to playing that type of football. People forget, yes, you got hurt. Yes, you're an older player. Yes, Achilles injuries hurt. But if we're talking from a pure perspective of the Pittsburgh Steelers, they haven't got it right since Ben Roethlisberger was there. Look at this list of quarterbacks that they've had in and out of their building. Justin Fields, 4-2. Kenny Pickett was 14-10. Mitch Trubisky, my guy, was 2-5. Russell Wilson, 6-5. Now he threw 16 passing touchdowns. They've moved on from all these guys. And to be completely honest and blunt, you're going to move on from Kirk Cousins if he signs with you the next year, and you're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers. So they have a placeholder. If it's not Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, it has to be Kirk Cousins.
I can't disagree with anything you said. I mean, who else could it be? Kirk Cousins, for as bad as he was last year, 16 touchdowns,
he was bad.
Interceptions. He was bad. He was bad enough to get benched for a rookie. 7-7 for the Atlanta Falcons, tied for the most wins the Falcons have had since 2017. So for as bad as Kirk Cousins was, American, like Shady has echoed loudly in my ear, he was bad. For as bad as he was, 7 wins is the most wins the Falcons have had since 2017. If you can take that.
This is terrible.
Y'all stop.
Kirk Cousins, like, come on, man.
Y'all stop.
But no, let him finish. Don't be rude. Don't be rude, because you're being rude. No matter how bad he is, James, do not be rude.
Take it easy. Go ahead.
If you can take that to Pittsburgh, they'll still make the playoffs, which is, I think, more than I could say for Mason Rudolph. Like, if you can take it to Pittsburgh, they would make the playoffs. And also, I think we are forgetting he was coming off an Achilles injury. Like, let's also remember, we aren't familiar enough with the recovery of Achilles injuries in the NFL to know what a good timetable is, what a bad timetable is. Shady can attest to it. If he can't, I can. ACL injuries used to be a death sentence in football. You were going to miss like a year with an ACL injury. Adrian Peterson completely redid that. He came back from his ACL injury in 6 months. Now you tear your ACL in football, ain't nobody even flinching. We're not there yet with Achilles injury. So I can suggest if Kirk gave you a 500 record with the Falcons off the Achilles injury, go to Pittsburgh. He'll give you 10-7. You'll make the playoffs. It's a good backup plan.
Well, number one, let me.
No, please do.
Because Chase said 2023. It's 2025 now, right?
Season and a half ago.
And he said Kirk Cousins still could play football. You know what? I still could play football.
Me too.
Sorry, I ain't gonna be good because my hamstrings and all that ain't gonna hold up, but I can still play football.
Oh, my God.
They're cooked. If Aaron Rodgers don't sign there, they're cooked. And you go with what you got. You Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, you're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere with Kirk Cousins. As I sit up here, you're not going nowhere. Listen, we want to talk about the Steelers, though, honestly, like we seen this top 5 defense last year. Like we seen this, like we didn't see that. Russell Wilson probably would still be there if the defense helped him out. They're not that good on defense neither anymore. They're getting older on defense. T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Mika, they are all getting older. If you don't get Aaron Rodgers in there, don't even look at trading that Kirk Cousins. You know what? You go and you see if Will Howard, the dude we drafted, is a blessing in disguise, and he can help us. Because at the end of the day, you're not going nowhere anyway. He had 18 touchdown passes and 16 picks last year in a terrible division. Not with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and a good Cleveland Browns defense. Not in that division. In the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Carolina Panthers team.
Jeez.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone.
Over there. Let him be a really good mentor to Michael Penix. But you're not coming to Pittsburgh, and you're not taking them to the playoffs. The streak will end this year if Aaron Rodgers is not in the building, and go with Will Howard.
You know what, though, man? I've been missing these type of topics. Serious question, all right? I might want to pick up my where my Super Bowl?
You've been out for a while.
They got rid of the superstar.
They got rid of it. You're out 3 days. That's what happens.
No, on the real, they said it couldn't be close to slick. They had it.
I'll just say this, 'cause I don't know superstar phone to talk about, but you signed DK Metcalf for $125 million, right? And I'm sure when you talk to him, like, hey, look, man, when you come and stuff, we're going to do this and that and the third. We're going to quarterback. He's like, oh, bet. Cash and the quarterback, sign me up. Yeah. And you hear a guy like Acho, you hear a guy like Chase say, hey, man, you know, the next plan for the Steelers, we're going to get Kirk Cousins. How the hell you think he feel today? We're hearing that on TV. Seriously,
better than getting the ball from Will Howard.
I guess he's going to be pissed.
Way better.
I don't know about that. This is what I will say. I think he's upset, because I would be upset. But I'll just say this, though, real quick.
I'm upset.
Last year, let me read it, because I want to make sure I got this right. Is Kirk Cousins a good backup for? So you got half of that thing right, though. Kirk Cousins he's a good backup for the Steelers. Not the backup player. He can't be starting. It's over for Kirk. Seriously, though. Watch him last year like an old man lost. I'm being honest, though, right? The game is moving so much faster than he's thinking. You know, and last year, they talked about, okay, you took a rookie quarterback, you got Kirk as a starter, and at one point, it was like, man, why not start the rookie? And everybody said, well, why start the rookie? You know, let Kirk do this and that. Until Kirk looked like a rookie.
Yeah.
Why not play the rookie if the starter's acting like a rookie, playing like a rookie? Yeah. The brother had 18 touchdowns and 16 picks. I can't even make that up. And y'all telling me bring that to the Steelers?
That's exactly
now, what the hell are we going to do with that?
Exactly what we're
Because the defense ain't been the same for the Steelers.
7 games.
The running game ain't been the same for the Steelers. And you talking about this quarterback's going to go over the same
ain't the same.
Another thing about him, right? His last 5 games, right, that he was starting, he's the starting quarterback, making all this money. He had 1 touchdown, 9 picks.
Oh, my.
Wait, you guys didn't hear me. You didn't hear me because you drink coffee. Look, real quick.
Black.
In his last 5 games as a starter, right? We're trying to make the playoffs.
There's your superstar.
Okay? He had 1 touchdown and 9 picks. And we having a conversation other than not being a backup. Y'all talking about starting in the league?
Yeah.
Man, y'all trying to prank me,
So
home.
is Kirk, like,
Go ahead.
Come on,
for
man.
Me, who are you going to go with
Howard.
Who are you going to go with
Will Howard.
other than Kirk Cousins?
That's the dope
like here's the thing about the Mike Tomlin situation, right? I showed all those quarterbacks, Fields, Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Russell Wilson. In all those seasons since 2022, in all the seasons Mike Tomlin's been there, he's never had a losing season. Mm-hmm. So at least with 16 years of experience, what we can say that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers do, forget about that defense. They're going to fix it. It's going to get fixed. Mm-hmm. Okay? They're at least going 9-8. Don't you think?
No,
not in this division.
I'm just saying history will tell you.
Yeah, I would suggest.
Now, if you're George Pickens or you're DK Metcalf, do you want the guy who's thrown for 43,000 yards and 300 touchdowns in your career, or a 6th-round pick? Just like you guys are not. They have to decide on a quarterback. You can't. Their roster right now, regardless, they're old, but they're good.
Yeah.
It's a tough division. You do not want Mason Rudolph and Will Howard starting 17
Can I ask one thing real quick?
games.
Hey, Chase, I'll say this, though.
Exactly what you do not want.
I'll say this to you, right? I got a lot of accolades, though, that I love to talk about. Rushing title, all pro, all decades. I got all that. And one day, Chase, all them numbers, one day I couldn't do that no more. Them yards you talking about, he did all that.
Good point.
Them days are over with. The last point I want to leave you is this. A lot of them quarterbacks they had with the Steelers that they made the playoffs, them quarterbacks, they weren't good. You're right, they weren't good. But you know what they did do? They played within the system and they didn't lose games, right? They probably won't win you no games because they're not that good. But they're not going to lose you no games. Kirk, one thing he will do he will lose you a game. He will throw picks to get you out the game. That's what he does. So my thing is, why in the hell in God's green earth we're being Kirk Cousins that's a lot of money, that's not that good, that's older, that's kind of banged up, that will lose you games, instead of playing a young rookie that's probably not as good, but he won't lose you games.
For me, you don't know what.
sense.
For me, you don't know what the rookie's gonna be.
Right.
Right now, whether we like it or not, we can't live in the past. We know what Kirk Cousins looks
We
like.
know what he is.
We know what Kirk Cousins
He's
is right now.
500.
Where?
Acho.
Oh, my God.
No, stop.
Oh, my God.
Like, for real. You and Chase respectfully watch the most film up here. If you turn on the tape of Kirk Cousins playing in an Atlanta Falcons uniform,
The last five
This
games
last
weren't
five
good.
games was not
Weren't
good.
The last 5 games weren't good.
That's not even good. No.
Okay, last 5 games were awful.
Thank you.
If you turn on the tape,
Appreciate that.
as him in an Atlanta Falcons uniform, he did not play good football.
Last 5 games, yep.
What was the last 5 games?
He had 18 touchdowns and 16 picks
Here's
as
the
a
thing.
Falcon.
Yes,
So where's good in that? I don't care. Let's not talk about winning. Justin Fields went 4-2, and we know that he didn't have a lot to do with them wins. There's a lot of quarterbacks teams that found ways to win, and they didn't have a lot to do with it. He didn't have a lot to do with their wins. He had 18 touchdowns and 16 interceptions.
Right.
He was not playing good football. If he goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that is not going to change. I'm not saying he's going to have 18 picks and 6, but where are they
never
going
know.
to go? They're not going to
Last
the
thought,
playoffs
Chase,
or win a
last thought.
Super
I think,
Bowl.
I think we're getting lost in the conversation. We can all agree up here
lost.
that Kirk Cousins is not the player he used to be.
Of course not.
No doubt about it.
Of course not.
But if you're a franchise that has made the playoffs and is illustrious of a franchise of the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you want at least to bring in Kirk Cousins for a chance to play, or do you want to ride with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard? What's
the difference?
No, think
I
about it.
wanna
I
ask
think
you
it would
this
be
question.
absolutely ridiculous if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, if they don't bring Kirk
I
Cousins.
want to ask you this question because when they benched Kirk Cousins, they still were in the playoff hunt.
Ooh, they say were.
They were in the
Yes, they
playoff hunt
were.
when they benched Kirk Cousins. Why did they bench Kirk Cousins?
Because the guy they drafted was the 8th overall pick.
Oh, that's why.
And they knew. No,
Absolutely.
No,
It wasn't the last.
Bad, but he was the 8th overall pick, too.
He
If
had
he
one
was a
touch-
6th round
No,
pick,
they-
they wouldn't have been.
Chase, he
Yeah,
had
that's
one.
true, though.
No,
it's
that's
not.
absolutely true.
He had 9. Listen, real quick.
They were waiting
The
for
last
reasons
5
to get
games
him
of
on
the
the
year,
field.
they were trying to make the playoffs. The brother had 1 touchdown and 9 picks. Any coach said, we got to go somewhere else with it. We got to go to the backup. But I will say this, though, right before we leave. I like Kirk. Right? I love the chains. You like that. I like all that with him. I like I like everything about him. But I think it's time for Kirk to get the clipboard and the iPad and help out the young guys. That's it.
They're going to end
He
up
is
in
right
the
now.
same
Give him a backup role, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But starting and all that and leading the franchise is crazy.
You're going to end up in the same spot. So see what the young fella has.
Yeah. Yo. Can you get us to Kirk?
We're gonna be talking about this. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.